Hey, I'm Marcelo Palermo. We have a very interesting story today. We're going to talk about stem cells, and we have a fantastic testimonial. How are you doing today? And please state your name and last name.
Doing fine. I'm doing much better. My name is William Burkett.
William, you had a tremendous experience that actually take you to see and meet Dr. Mike Raefiani, and literally took you from years of pain to no pain. It's an odyssey, we can call it that way, right?
Let's say it was a life-changing event. It's a life-changing event that I think there's a lot of Americans here in the U.S. are looking for an opportunity to take. My event started in 2009 and me involved in a motor vehicle accident in a police unit in which I was hit by an individual traveling about 70 miles an hour. I broke two discs in my back, L4, L5, cracked them in the middle, and created a bulging disc in both the L4, L5. And of course, there was other injuries sustained. I had a kidney injury, and which lasted about 3 months. But needless to say, shortly thereafter, I was in serious pain all the time. I must have seen probably four surgeons, changed probably 3 or 4 orthopedic physicians who constantly reviewed, their tests, their results, and it was always the same answer: surgery and boxing the L4, L5. And I was still in a career that I really loved, and I just felt that doing that type of surgery would have caused me to have to exit that career. So I refused to do it. Besides that, I had several friends of mine who were physicians said that probably wouldn't end very well and would probably end up in more pain than I already was. So it wasn't until about 2017 that I finally was introduced to Dr. Raefiani, as you know, who's a pain management. And prior to that, I was on hydrocodone and probably every other muscle relaxer you could think of. But I think, as you know, in law enforcement, that keeps us from taking those type of drugs. And so it was real painful. It was a constant pain. I couldn't do activities with my family, couldn't engage in any sports, running, walking, which caused me to be overweight. By the way, that made it worse. And so, like I said, in about 2017, I was introduced to Dr. Raefiani, and then we started doing other things. We tried epidurals, and of course, those type of procedures only lasted for about 3 months, and then I was back to square one, which was of no fault to Dr. Raefiani, but at that time, that was all that was available to most people that had my condition.
Okay.
It wasn't until 2021 that I think PRP, which is the plasma, that was introduced to the medical field, in which Dr. Raefiani did the first procedure on me, and that went very well. I think that the pain level was reduced to probably 3 to 5 on a maximum, but it only lasted for about 6 months. And I think even during that time, the sciatic nerve was just raging, where to the point where the nerves would pop out in my calves, and again, there was no relief. But the plasma did help, and we continued to probably do 2 or 3 of those, and it wasn't until I believe 2023 when Dr. Raefiani certified in stem cells that that he got all the equipment and everything, and he started doing the stem cells. And it wasn't until just April of 2024 that Dr. Raefiani performed the stem cells, a one-time therapy. And I thought when I got up that, there would be that lapse in time of feeling the effects, but no, actually, when I got up, I had more pain. And so I said, well, it's probably from the general anesthesia that he gave me, and I said, wow, this felt really good, and no, actually, a week went by, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, when's it going to kick in? When's the pain coming back? But here we are. We're in June. And to this point, I recently had heart surgery, and the doctor required me to walk a mile. And this is the first time in over 20 years that I've been able to walk with no pain. So it was actually a life-changing event.
So basically, you went through a lot health-wise speaking after that fateful day of the accident back in 2009. That's what we were talking before, came all over the news and everything because, by the way, you were law enforcement.
That's correct. It wasn't in news. It was a horrendous auto accident that basically totaled the vehicle, as you know, and I guess it was a godsend opportunity to stay because I should have died in that accident.
Yeah.
And but I didn't, so I'm still here.
As you told me, even you had a gun. It was a 45, right? And you told me that gun popped broken.
Oh yeah, I had
as a consequence.
As you know, when anything can happen, it will happen. And so I had a brand new 45 that I purchased probably that year. And of course, you know, back then we used to build the units with a post in the middle with a computer.
Exactly.
Well, I happened to, because of the accident, it got pushed back and got shoved into my right side. And if it wouldn't have been for the weapon, it would have probably punched a hole in my kidney. I bled for like probably 3 weeks. It damaged the kidney. I was bruised kidneys. But the weapon was bent to the extent I sent it back to Colt and I told him that, you know, I was in a police unit MVA, and of course they sent me a brand new gun thanks to Colt, but it was replaced. That's how hard the impact was. So,
and being that hard, after that came 15 years of health problems and situations that actually had you dwindling down, kind of brought you down to a simmer because you were in pain, as you were telling before, taking controlled substances that were prescribed to you because of the fact that you have severe pain until this happened.
You know, I actually retired in 2012.
Correct.
And I think after 2012, my health went down astronomically.
After retirement, you're ill.
Yeah, I mean, I got to the point where the mobility was like walking was an issue. Wearing a gun belt, it was horrible.
All right.
I mean, there was nothing I could do. I mean, like I was telling you earlier, I couldn't walk more than 10 feet, and I either have to sit down or lean on something. And if my family wanted to go to the mall, and I had to sit on the bench while they shopped.
Correct.
You know, I couldn't do any of those things. Fishing, hunting. I mean, I was a lifetime hunter, and you know, it got to the point after I retired, I quit hunting, I quit fishing.
All those physical activities, I guess that they were absolutely off limits after you got this back problem as a consequence of the accident.
Absolutely, absolutely. The stem cells, like I say, I was amazed. I really, truly was, because I have done so many things. I've always had health insurance. I was very blessed, but the health insurance couldn't do anything for me because it couldn't do anything to resolve this other than surgeries. And like I told you before, they said it would probably make it worse because of the type of surgery that was needed. It was to cage the vertebrae. So that was out of the question. I just think the mobility was going to even be worse and the pain was going to be worse. I just never chose to do that.
So we're talking about this long time, lengthy time of you suffering all those pains and hindrances and problems. But recently, just 2 months ago, April 2024, you underwent this one stem cell therapy.
Yes.
You thought it was the anesthesia probably or something like that.
Right.
But no, complete switch.
It was a complete switch. It's like it was on off. And that was from the time that I got off the bed there, and started to put on my clothes. You know, you got to understand that and during this duration of attempts, you know, we're talking all the epidurals and 6 or 7 years that I did, and then plus all the PRPs that I did, which was about 3 or 4. They're very painful, by the way.
They must be,
because these aren't general. Most of those were in and around the vertebrae. And so anytime you get into those sensitive areas, it's very painful. So the minute you got off the bed, you know, you were in pain. You were going, man, I hope this gets better. And then of course, you know, the following day, and sometimes, you know, it would take weeks for the effect to happen. But yeah, I get like 3 months of relief. But after 3 months, I was back to square one. So, but it was an opportunity to get some relief.
Exactly.
But the sciatic nerve never gave you relief, by the way. That's the most horrendous pain that you can have, because it's there day and night. It's like a buzzing sound in your ear. And then again, your foot and your calf, you know, they're on fire all the time. And you're going, man, it's actually, it can actually, I can see people being depressed over that. There are people that get severely depressed because this gives no relief. But I just have that type A personality where I'm just a go-go type of person. If I didn't have a busy schedule, I imagine that I could possibly become severely depressed over it, because it never ends. I mean, it's always buzzing. But the sciatic nerve, and I think that the doctor was explaining to me, Dr. Refaeian was explaining to me, that now they've gotten to the point where they can actually separate the stem cells appropriate for each individual injury, the muscle, the cartilage, the nerves. And so I thought, well, okay, go for it, you know. And I'm here, I'm living proof, and I'm sincere, because I'm so grateful that he changed my life. I mean, I'm back with my family. I told you, I just had open heart. I'm able to walk now. This is the first time in 20 years that I've been able to walk a mile since the injury. And I used to run 10 miles a day prior to the injury. So I was physically in shape. Of course, I was much younger, but I wasn't a person that was overweight or anything like that. I always went to the gym. But after the injury, it's just that was gone. I mean, you couldn't. But now I'm able to, like I said, again, the life-changing event, I'm able to walk, and, you know, my hopes are to get back in the gym and start working out again. That's my goal.
We might go together. It will be a great honor. And by the way, before we wrap up this interview, I would like for everybody who's going to be watching the podcast, and of course also the medical shows like Consulta Médica, medical consultation, could you stand up to show everyone how great you look?
Oh, absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's how proper stem cell therapy puts you back on top of the world. And it's been a great pleasure talking.
It's been a pleasure talking to you. I hope this helps other people.
Exactly.
I really hope so.
And most definitely we'll have to do other interviews and talk more about your daily activities. And when you get back to the gym, probably the idea will be, if you let me know, I'll go with you.
We got a date. Thank you.
There you go. Thank you very much, guys. Again, meet me here. You know how this is. I'm Marcelo Palermo, your host. This is your podcast. See you soon with more, probably from the gym next time.